Afternoon. The time is currently 12:14 p.m. Central, and we have a brand new destructive severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for northwestern Roberts and eastern Marshall counties in northeastern South Dakota. These are destructive storms for northeast Marshall and far northern Robert counties. Seek shelter now. Hazards 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. This is an extremely dangerous situation with tornado-like wind speeds expected. Mobile homes and high-profile vehicles are especially susceptible to winds of this magnitude and may be overturned. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. These storms have the potential to cause serious injury and significant property damage. Today we are joined here to help me cover this by Mr. Storm.
What's up, guys?
But yeah, this pocket of winds has been going for a long time. I had to wake up really early this morning, guys, and I went to bed for a couple hours, so I missed a lot. But this pocket of winds got so strong at one point. Look at this. This scan glitched out. Look, this is the weirdest velocity scan I've ever seen. It glitched out so hard here. These are very, very strong winds. Kind of surprised this isn't one for 90-mile-an-hour winds, but I mean, this is just a crazy, crazy storm here heading for Clare City, heading up towards the Interstate 29 corridor near New Effington and Hammer. We do have some other severe storms around the Midwest. In fact, just back here, my house, we just got hit by a pretty intense severe storm. I just barely woke up in time, but this is the storm that hit me. You can see it kind of has that line shape there that is indicative of some strong winds, and that's going to continue to cross the Illinois-Indiana state line, now sub-severe, but we'll continue to watch it as it has wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So if you're in between Terre Haute and Sullivan, make sure you're looking out for that, just in case anybody back close to home is watching this. We are in the clear at this point here if you're on the Illinois side of the state line, but if I have any of my family that lives in Sullivan watching, I'll keep you guys posted on that storm there. But we do have another severe storm currently in eastern, kind of central Nebraska here. This is warned for 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts, and it has a history of producing 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts, actually, off to the southwest of Ord. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for Valley and Sherman counties. So if you're in that area, make sure you're moving indoors. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning on the North Dakota side of the state line for this storm. Alright, this is one for quarter-sized hail and 80-mile-per-hour winds. These are destructive storms now for Sargent and Ransom counties. Seek shelter immediately. If your phone's going all wild, if your TV's going off with the alert, this is why. We have a very destructive storm incoming here, with maybe even winds up to 85, 90 miles an hour, right? We cannot rule it out, but again, they're sticking with the 80-mile-an-hour tag over at the National Weather Service, but again, we're going to continue to treat this as if it is a very destructive storm, because it definitely could be here. Again, very dangerous storm. They're kind of in the tri-state area of South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota. We're not really expecting to see anything like this early in the morning. We were kind of thinking we'd have to wait a little bit later into the day for today's severe weather event. Today's going to be another one of these very, very long days. Enhanced risk of severe weather going from eastern South Dakota into eastern Nebraska, western and central Iowa, back into southwest Minnesota. That's a 3 out of 5 risk on the SPC scale there, alright? So we're going to be talking about the threat for tornadoes today. However, the tornado threat is relatively low, but we do have a swath of a 2% risk here going all the way from the Kentucky-Tennessee state line back up all the way into North Dakota for a little section of the state. Damaging wind threat for today. For today. That's the main threat, all right? If you're in that red area, 30% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher, and at least a 10% chance to see wind gusts of 75 miles an hour or higher, so look out for that. By the way, new severe thunderstorm warning for our line of storms here. This is not a destructive one. This is a regular severe thunderstorm warning, but if you're in Millbank, we still need you to get indoors. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds coming your way. Also, a very electrified storm there, it looks like, with all those little lightning bolts, so keep an eye out for that. And then finally, the hail threat for today is actually a pretty big threat as well. It looks like at the newest SPC update, I didn't even realize this, but they upgraded the hail threat to a 30% hatched for portions of eastern South Dakota and southwest Minnesota, so we could be talking about large destructive hail today as well. So we've got a lot to cover, but yeah, Mr. Storm, you got any updates for us?
So take a look at, this is weird, and look at velocities on the frame back. There's some sort of spike, and it's really weird, but I don't know what that means, but there's a spike on velocities of frame back.
A spike? Where do you see a spike?
Like you know how, like, sometimes we get a hail spike. Like, it looks exactly like that, but it's on velocities now 2 scans ago.
Probably just a glitch. Whenever the winds get this high, there's always a lot of glitches with this.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of signatures here of some very intense winds. Just a lot of glitches. Nothing, anything too crazy other than that. But still, insane winds with this.
Whenever the winds get this high, there's always a lot of glitches with the.
Wow. What's up, Sam? What's up, Gooseman? What's up, Vin? What's up, Mo?
What's up, everybody? You cannot have your phone out in class. Where are you going to class?
Be sure to like the stream so we can get this out to more people. Because we really need folks in Nebraska, South Dakota, to know what's going on with this storm.
Yeah, really anywhere in the Midwest today, it'd be good just to, if you know anybody out here, just, send them a stream, alright? Even a marginal risk of severe weather, usually we still end up seeing severe storms in, right? And today, we have got a huge chunk of the country under the gun for severe weather, right? We've got almost 100 million people facing at least a marginal threat of severe weather today. It's about 85 million people, so we need everybody that's, lives out here to pay attention, alright? We're gonna have multiple live streams out here today. By the way, we also have a low baby marginal risk here in south central Arizona. That's not really anything too crazy to worry about. It's just because of this monsoon season that we're having, so nothing crazy. I would like to point out that Tropical Depression 3E has now developed. I don't know if that's new information or not, but that is in the eastern Pacific. We are expecting this to become a very, very strong storm. This is not... so there's been a couple of storms that the models have been saying will develop. There's been a relatively strong one, which is this one, right? They're expecting it to gain up to hurricane strength, all right, at least Category 1. And then there's going to be another one that will likely develop by the end of this week that is going to be a major hurricane potentially, all right? The models have been very consistent with that, so we'll watch out for that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if that's new information or not, but...
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that, so...
Again, if you're
anybody got any family out here, just please let them know that there's a pretty big storm in their area, and just make sure that they are staying weather aware and that they know what kind of situation they're in.
Yeah. If you hear any thunder in the back, again, that's just the remnants of that thunderstorm. And I got some decent footage. Dude, it was looking like it was going to flood for a little bit. It was raining extremely heavily. It's a random Texan guy. We have seen way, way too much rain, and I'm probably going to get more storm footage out for you guys tomorrow again, as I'm in another slight risk. And speaking of which, tomorrow we're going to be live several times again, because tomorrow's a chunk of the Ohio Valley. Wouldn't rule out an upgrade to an enhanced risk, but it would probably be for damaging winds, not like tornadoes or anything. But that slight risk is going out right now for portions of southwest Ohio, extreme northeastern Kentucky, central Indiana, most of Indiana, and then portions of east central and northeastern Illinois. The threat for right now for tornadoes remains low, but it is there for portions of the upper Midwest, actually. This is a 2% risk going out for portions of Wisconsin, Minnesota, eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, northwest Indiana, and extreme southwestern Michigan, and a good chunk of Lake Michigan. The damage and wind threat for tomorrow remains at 15%, but again, wouldn't rule out an upgrade to that. The hail threat for tomorrow is pretty low. It's a 5%. And then on the day 3 outlook, it's a marginal risk, alright? Kind of going to be the remnants of that event, plus some more severe storms sparking in the southeast. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think that Friday should be anything too significant, but we'll probably still have a live stream out. Oh, it's at 90? No, it's at 80.
Yeah, it's at 80. Said that. It's not upgrading.
But yeah, this has been a very strong storm for a very long time, obviously, so. See you, Sam. Looks like this could be on the downward trend, actually. Oh, the stream title does have 90. I didn't even realize that. I meant to put 80. I thought I did put 80. I'll change that.
Oh, I thought they meant the storm was not engaged.
Yeah, I did too. There was a recording, or a, yeah, there was a recording of a 70-mile-an-hour gust that was 21 minutes ago. But that wasn't
There was
from,
a 75 a little bit earlier.
yeah, I saw that. But this wasn't from the highest, this wasn't from the most intense pocket of these winds here. So again, they very well could be 75 to 80 miles an hour still. But again, it does look to be weakening out just a little bit. But again, continue to stay in that safe spot where you would normally go for a tornado, because these are tornado force winds that we're dealing with here. In fact, they're hurricane force winds. So, let me change the title real quick. Going with the old school style thumbnail for today, because I did not have enough time to create a fancy one. Wanted to get this stream going since I knew this storm was already dying. So, anyway, who's that talking in the background? That's Mr. Storm. I hope there's not anybody else talking in the background. I thought I was home alone.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised this storm isn't still severe on the Indiana-Illinois state line. Doesn't look any less impressive to me than whenever it was severe, so it's a little surprising. In fact, it looks more impressive at this point, but obviously the National Weather Service's call usually ends up being the best call. Yeah, that's Mr. Storm.
Pretty sharp contrast near Cobb, Indiana, just to the west of Greencastle. I think that there could be some stronger winds over there, so I agree with you that I'm kind of surprised that they put this down to a special weather statement, but obviously seems like it's the right call, but I don't know.
Yeah, again, so it's kind of taking like an east-southeast track here, so we'll go ahead and drag this out, kind of. It's, how quickly is it moving here? Let's check it out. It's moving off to the east at 30 miles an hour. It's kind of more east-southeast once again, so we'll do something like this. So just to, oh, crap. We'll do something like that, just to drag this out for everybody. So we're talking about areas like Robinson being impacted in 16 minutes, all right? So if I don't know if I have any friends in Robinson, but if I do and you're watching this, you got about 16 minutes. Palestine, 28 minutes. Freelandville, 66 minutes. Bicknell, 72 minutes. Linton, 76 minutes. Washington, 95 minutes. This isn't going to be near the Louisville area for another couple of hours here, actually. In fact, it's going to be a few hours until this reaches the Louisville region. But you could still see some, at least some rain from this system by the time it reaches Louisville. You could definitely get a storm earlier than this one, though, in Louisville. Wouldn't be surprised to see another one pop up closer to Louisville than the one that's already here. And wow, so there was now a recording of an 83-mile-an-hour gust in Nebraska.
Dang.
This was from a storm warned for 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, wow. Right, so this storm now has a history of producing winds of, let's say, 80 miles per hour. That is a those are considered destructive winds. So, even if it's warned for 60, you never know.
What's up, Roman?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But, you definitely want to make sure that if you've got any family to the east of Aberdeen, South Dakota, you just want to make sure that they're aware of the situation they're in. Clare City, this is pretty much right on top of you now. You're starting to get some serious winds in New Effington. Victor, you guys are pretty much about to get in on these winds. But, I do think that if this continues to weaken out, we'll probably and hopefully I'm saying this is going to happen, but if this continues to weaken out, we'll hopefully see the next one be at least a considerable, but we just have to watch it. I will say, though, that the southern side of the storm is now actually looking to be maybe the dominant side because it's starting to form a little pocket of consistent winds. I know these are elevated, but over 80 miles per hour, so we'll see if we get any, near 80 mile per hour reports from out there near Sisseton or Goodwill. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure. So, we'll keep watching these storms here. We do have a storm in northeast Missouri that I haven't been mentioning much. We can't really look at this one because it's in the infamous northern Missouri radar hole, but it's pretty strong. It looks like ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds are what it's warned for. This same exact area had trees reported down, so from this morning. Obviously, these areas are getting hit again and again and again. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing, like Ryan Holiday said, a conveyor belt of storms. But, I mean, he's right. I mean, we've got so much Cape out here, and just the setup that we've got is really supporting a lot of different storms to set up. We've seen a lot of different kinds of setups. We've seen a lot of, semi-discrete storms. We've seen a lot of QLCS-like events, but, we still got another day to go through with an enhanced risk. And just because, things are going to start winding down with what we've got now does not mean we're not going to see anything else today. We have much more activity to get through. It's going to be a long day, like David said. But models have been really, they've been struggling they've been struggling to agree with each other on, like a specific event happening, but they've all been showing some pretty concerning stuff, so we really just got to see what's going to happen. But with the environment that these storms are entering, it's extremely vital for these storms, and just, it's an environment that's going to be good for these storms to explode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, Kevin. The models, you cannot trust them during events like this. It's almost more useful to look at the SPC outlook right now to talk about the areas that could get hit than looking at the models. Like, that's almost never the case, right? Because the SPC gives you a more broad outlook of where we could see stuff. But the models, whenever there's absolutely no agreements, you might as well just look at the SPC here and say, hey, if you're in the enhanced risk, you've got a good chance of severe thunderstorms. If you're in the slight risk of severe weather, you've got a decent chance for severe storms. And if you're in the marginal risk, you have a small chance for severe storms. But a new 65-mile-an-hour gust report came out on the south side of the storm here, but that was 23 minutes ago, so. And we have another 62-mile-an-hour gust that just came out of Sisseton. Seiston, however you pronounce that. What does Dakotas show? I'm not sure. I know yesterday it was showing a... Was it a 3% or a 5%? Let's check it out. So it's showing a 3% going out for portions of eastern South Dakota into northwestern Iowa and southwest Minnesota. And then a 2% risk outside of that going out for parts of Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. Interestingly enough, it's kind of like this area down here into the Ohio Valley has a tornado threat according to the SBC, but Datocast has you at a 1% at best if you're in the Ohio Valley, so we'll see. Or at worst, I guess, if you don't like tornadoes.
I mean, I do think we could get some cells out there. I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah, but I think it'll mostly be a damaging wind threat, actually.
Probably.
Yeah, it's mostly a damaging wind threat today rather than a tornado threat, but the tornado threat is there. So watch out for one. Storm chasers right now, are, for the most part, are positioned in Iowa. We might as well go ahead and take a look at the models, but I doubt we're going to get any useful data. Let's check out the newest run of the ARRR. I haven't looked at it yet. So 1 p.m., this is what we can expect to see. 2, 3. By 3 p.m., we're dealing with a big cluster of storms, according to the ARRR in northeast South Dakota there. Something to watch out for, probably mainly going to be a damaging wind and large hail threat, though, as none of those storms really look that discrete. 4, 5 p.m., those kind of continue, but they kind of die out. And actually, the newest run at 5 p.m. here, it's actually showing some intense supercells popping off in southwestern Illinois, which is very interesting, considering that area only has a marginal risk, and barely even that. But 6 p.m., dealing with some more of these supercells up here in the portions of North Dakota, Minnesota. This may be the greatest time frame we have to see a tornado threat develop. If any of these storms become discrete, like this one here in southeastern South Dakota, this could cause a tornado, or produce a tornado, however you want to say it, for sure. If it becomes strong enough and if it's fully discrete. By 7 p.m., we get more and more of those to pop off, but remember, more storms does not equal a higher tornado threat in some situations like this, because that's going to reduce the discrete environment that's out here, right? So by 7 p.m., we may still have a little bit of a tornado threat, but it's mainly going to be very large hail and damaging winds at that point. 8, 9, kind of the same. By 9 p.m., it's showing a massive, massive hailstorm out here in southwest Minnesota. 77 dBZs. I don't know if I've ever seen that on the ARRR. And it's also saying 77 dBZs for another cell in South Dakota, so pretty intense hailstorms it looks like we could have by 10, 11 p.m. Those are crossing into western Iowa by midnight, 1 a.m. Those kind of die out, but they're still going to be able to produce some large hail and damaging winds across portions of the western Midwest and the eastern plains.
Yeah, the NAM it is showing these storms to start firing across, sections of eastern South Dakota, eastern North Dakota by about 5 p.m. So about early evening hours of today. So it does look like we may have a small window for some potentially tornadic storms, but it really wants these storms to line up here into a nasty QLCS sweeping across western Minnesota. But this goes really far north, like a lot farther north than where the SPC has their enhanced risk. But this does line up pretty well with the enhanced risk, because the strongest point of what seems to be this QLCS shown by the NAM is in the same general area as where the enhanced risk goes into Minnesota. So I think that we could really have some serious wins if this were to play out. But I think that this could definitely be more of like a long tracking kind of line of storms, because once again, cape levels we got are absolutely off the charts, with some areas getting close to 6,000 joules per kilograms, which sounds ridiculous, and it is, but it's true. I mean, it's these patterns that we get during August out here that get ridiculously high, and this is yet another day where we have cape levels that are in the neighborhood of 5,000 to 6,000 joules per kilograms.
Yeah, and I think that actually, if, excuse me, if the models were a bit more in agreement here, and they were being even just a little bit more aggressive, the SPC could have seriously gone with a moderate risk for today. It wouldn't be out of the question, because the damaging wind threat for today, again, is the main thing. And the damaging wind threat, it's noon, all right? It's about 1 o'clock, but it's already, we're seeing 80-mile-an-hour damaging winds. So any storm that pops up today is going to take advantage of all this cape we have. There's decent wind shear, and again, they're going to be lines of storms, right? We're not really going to be seeing discrete supercells for a big time frame. So damaging winds are the main thing, not tornadoes. That's the important thing to remember for today.
I do see the NAM showing actually some of these cells out there into far eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, so that might be a sign for, a possible tornado threat. That would be like the really early morning hours of tomorrow morning, so we're talking about like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, but nothing that's like anything that's like really catching our eyes of anything too significant with those.
Yes, this could head for Minneapolis, random Texan guy, but Minneapolis actually right now by the ARRR looks to be relatively spared until like late tonight, like 2, 3 a.m. Yeah, Yeah, I would change the title. I may have to change the title. I put possible strong tornadoes in there because I didn't really look at the setup too much for today because yesterday I was focusing on yesterday's event, and again I didn't wake up too long ago because I had to wake up super early and I fell back asleep. So I've been a mess today. I may have to change the title from possible strong tornadoes, but I'll tell you what. Yesterday we had a strong tornado not only in Nebraska but also back into southwest Indiana. So sometimes these
Yeah.
storms will surprise you.
No, last night that tornado in Nebraska was pretty strong for a little bit of while. It's definitely more of a longer tornado than what we usually see.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a discrete supercell. It was very strong for a long period of time, multiple hours. Well, the stream was only about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but for multiple hours, that storm was very, very strong. New severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for the southern part of the line of storms. 70-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts and penny-sized hail. Traverse County, northern Big Stone County, Roberts County, and north central Grant County along the South Dakota-Minnesota state line. So if you're in that warning, make sure you're getting indoors immediately.
Yeah, but this is one of those hard events to forecast because the models are just not agreeing with each other at all, and also there's so many different storms and storm uh like setups that kind of roll through, if you know what I'm talking about. That it's I don't know. It's just really hard to focus on one and just be able to point out something and know exactly or have a good understanding of what we think is going to happen. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So again, if you're just now joining us, I know we have a lot of what's the strongest wind report you've gotten on this storm so far. The strongest one on this storm would be the 75 mile an hour. That was like a long time ago, though. That was like an hour and a half ago. But anyway, what I was going to say is if you're just now tuning in, we do have a line of storms producing damaging winds up to 80 miles an hour along the North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota tri-state area. The main area that we are concerned about are areas like Lidgerwood, Hankinson, Rochelle, White Rock, Fairmount, Great Bend, Morton, Wapeton, Wendell, Wheaton. You guys need to get indoors and preferably underground immediately. Very strong line of storms producing damaging winds up to 80 miles an hour. If you can't get underground, get to the lowest floor of your building and get to the middle of your building. All right. Interior room, bathroom works good, but it's a pretty dangerous scenario here. Once again, whenever you start talking about 80, maybe even 90 mile an hour winds, that's whenever they become very, very destructive and can, even cause the same kind of damage that we see with low-end tornadoes. So, give me just a second here.
So before these storms actually form a little bit of a damaging wind bag, damaging wind line, it seems like we may have an opportunity for some cells to fire across central Nebraska later today. So I'll look for some soundings from there, but I don't know. It's possible to tell from this.
Yeah, we can't rule it out. Again, I mean, it's not a major tornado threat for today, but damaging winds are definitely going to be pretty intense. Especially later this afternoon into this evening. Again, it's going to be another long day, guys. I'm so sorry we haven't had any normal content recently. It's all been storm vlogs and live streams, but it's just been so active, and whenever it gets this active in my area, obviously, I'm going to post a storm vlog, so,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things.
But be sure to like the stream. Alright, subscribe to Davis just so we can get this streamed to more people because we're spreading some potentially life-saving information because if people that are getting hit by this destructive storm don't know what's going on, then, lives could be at stake.
If somebody can get Mr. Storm's channel in the chat, I'll pin that.
Some Super Zeppelin freaks.
Actually, Nebraska storms have already started. Those aren't really the main Nebraska storms that we're watching out for, though. Um, that there are some storms out there, yes.
Yeah. So those are actually not severe anymore. Those are just special weather statements. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have that 83 mile per hour gust report
We
from
did.
these storms? Yeah.
By the way,
So
major update here. Sorry to cut you off, but we have a major update. The storm along the North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota tri-state area has a new severe thunderstorm warning, and it's only considerable. So it's likely that they're going to drop this destructive tag, as this is the last destructive storm we had, the last destructive tag we had, and it's being replaced by a considerable tag. So this could be a sign of a weakening trend. 70-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-sized hail, though, are still nothing to play around with.
yeah. So the previous destructive warning actually is now considerable. So now we can safely say that the storm is weakening.
We still, but we still do have a destructive in North Dakota.
Yeah, that is true. But at this point, you guys are going to be okay if you're in the destructive warning. It's past you at this point. But there are a lot of more towns out here in Minnesota, so it doesn't seem like we have too many people out here, but there are some towns, so, I know Fergus Falls is very populated, so, we'll see, but, the good part is that the storm is weakening.
We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Lawrence County, southeastern Crawford County, and east central Richland County in east central and southeastern Illinois here. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So they did decide to go ahead and re-severe warn a part of that storm. So obviously we'll keep ourselves mostly focused on the Dakotas, but again, just if I have anybody watching from back home, in our general area, we're mostly out of the severe threat. But if you're out in, Robinson or for whatever reason, or if you're in Sullivan, Indiana, I've got family out there. So if anybody's watching, yes, these storms are going to continue for a few more minutes. They're going to be brief storms, all right? You're only going to get stormed on for 10, 15 minutes, but they're going to be intense while they happen.
Yep. Hunter Croft is chasing today. His live is going to start at 3.
Okay. How long do I plan on streaming for? This would probably be a shorter stream, but later this evening we will have a stream that's 1 or 2 hours, maybe more if we need to go longer, but this will be a shorter stream. As now that the Dakotas are that storm's kind of weakening out, we don't really have much else to focus on. Again, I really want to wait for this storm along the Illinois-Indiana state line to kind of get further into Indiana, just so that any of my friends watching back home know what's going on, and I can give them the all clear.
Houston's good. Random Texan guy, Houston's good. You're not going to get any storms today.
Yeah, you're going to get nothing at all, actually. It's going to be hot, and it's going to be muggy. But you're not getting storms. The heat index down there is already 104 degrees. I don't know how you do it. Well, southwest Indiana get impacted. What?
Oh, sorry, I know weather was
Well, southwest Indiana get impacted today. You were in a tornado warning. You almost got hit. Yeah, so I mean, southwestern Indiana, again, you got that line of storms heading for you right now. But if I'm correct, I don't want to sound like a stalker or anything, but if you were in the tornado warning yesterday, I think I know what area you're talking about. You should be a little further south than this line of storms, but you may have some damaging winds to the north of you.
I'm sorry, I know weather was sim, but I just got excited that he tuned in.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, living in Houston during the summer must just suck because you guys always get tropical moisture and it's always just so disgustingly muggy and it's hot. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Roman, I'll start streaming in a few months.
Yeah, I bet it is. I mean, again, I don't know how you survive in that, but
I just realized I'm actually under a heat advisory.
I'm not. Summer really hasn't been too brutal for me. Last summer was a nightmare, though. We had heat indexes up to 115 degrees, mind you, in Illinois. And it wasn't a one-time occurrence. And then I also spent a week in Florida in early August, which was obviously one of the worst times in my life. And we were going to Disney World too, so we were walking around all day long. We were waiting in 3-hour lines for the most boring. Like if I was like 5 years younger, maybe I'd enjoy it. But the most boring rides, 3-hour waits in that beating sun. That was terrible. That was literally one of the most. That was the most miserable I've ever been on a vacation before. I remember waking up every morning to the sound of the National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning. So I have an app on my device that gives me alerts, even if they're just heat alerts. I just remember hearing every morning, the National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning, a heat advisory, excessive heat watch.
Random Texan guy, your dew point right now is about 82 degrees. That's crazy.
Me and Roman, I could unmod you if you want. Why do you want to leave? I don't understand. Why is everybody asking to not be mod?
Oh, what?
I agree we have a lot of mods, but that's why I stopped just giving them to everybody that asked.
You're in school? How?
You don't know why you're not in a heat advisory? They probably just know that you know at this point that it's going to be brutal, honestly. They're like, they don't even need the alert. They know what's going on. And also, your standards for it, it's probably just actually because your standards for a heat advisory are so ridiculous out there. Like, look at this. Just a few counties to the north of you, this heat advisory is for heat index values to 110. And, like, if that happened in, like, Mr. Storm's neck of the woods in Long Island, that would be an excessive heat emergency. Like, that, it depends on greatly on where you live.
Bro, it's not even that hot here. Like, it was cold. It was, like, cool last night, and we're under a heat advisory. Like, yeah, we're in the 90s today, but it's low 90s. Like, it's not that bad. Like, our standards are really low.
You're not in a heat advisory.
I am.
Not for me, you're not.
If you look at the National Weather Service homepage at the, for my forecast office, it'll say I'm in a heat advisory.
Oh, it does. It doesn't say that on Radar Omega.
That's weird.
And it has, like, the other heat advisories up on Radar Omega. Wait, no, wait. I'm so confused. Yeah, you're in one, but it's just... Wait. Yeah, I don't know why it's not popping up.
Heat index values of 95 to 100 expected.
You get a heat advisory for index values to 95. That's crazy.
That's lousy. Gosh.
We had a heat advisory for 110 in my area a few weeks ago. 95 is wild.
So our high today is 86. Right now the real feel is 99. But still, I mean, our standards are way too low. Well, yeah, it's gonna be hot, but I don't think that they deserve a advisory for that.
You know what? I bet you it's warmer and muggier here right now than it is. I don't know, because we did just get all that rain, cool air. Let me check. Yeah, never mind. I was going to say it's probably warmer here than it is at your area, but we just got hit by a storm, so it's not. But yeah, our heat index tomorrow is going to be 102, and we don't have a heat advisory. So it just depends on where you live. I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
I think just in general, usually it's around 105 whenever most area, like on average, I think that's whenever heat advisories start getting issued. Heat index
Yeah,
105.
like, for here, people would go, like, absolutely insane. I was almost under an excessive heat warning for, like, 95-degree heat.
Meanwhile, we got Houston, not even peak heating hours, and Houston's at 104 with not even a heat advisory.
Yeah, and then you've got the 80-degree dew points on top of that.
Well, no, that's factoring in the dew points.
Oh.
If it was 104 degrees plus 80-degree dew points, then it would be,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was... Yeah. See, that Sioux Falls could be really rough, possibly later this afternoon, early evening. It's 88 with a dew point of 77. I mean, yeah, some storms are definitely possible out there near Sioux Falls. You're in the enhanced risk, so, I think that you guys just gotta be weather aware, but feel bad that it's, so muggy and hot out there, but, yeah, you just gotta be sure that you're staying weather aware. Some potentially, damaging wind gusts could, occur out there.
Sioux Falls shouldn't have a big deal until later this evening. The models, both the NAM and the ARRR, are saying maybe around 8 o'clock you get something in Sioux Falls. It's interesting, though. The ARRR has it coming from the south. The NAM kind of has it coming from the straight west, so... Yeah. Again, model agreement's just not with us today, but that's just a coincidence that they agree on the Sioux Falls thing being around the same time. I'm thinking, but... I mean, this storm here along the Wabash River Valley here, again, we gotta keep watching it. It'll keep heading southeast into the Indiana-Kentucky state line with damaging wind gusts probably across the entire swath in an area that has been hit day after day by damaging winds. So, look out for that.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting some higher scans just inside of the warning box areas, so yeah, definitely some potentially damaging winds.
Yeah. But I think it's probably safe to end off our coverage here since this destructive severe warning expires in 1 minute here. I think we're going to keep it at a considerable. Still look out for it, but we will be live later again today with more severe weather this evening. Mr. Storm, you got anything to say?
Just stay safe out there. Even if you get hit by one storm, today's the kind of day where like I said, you have an environment that's favorable for multiple different storm setups to kind of roll through. So, you know, just stay weather aware if you're in the slight enhanced risk. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, so again, thank you all for joining us here this afternoon.